Good afternoon, all my beautiful stitching friends. Sandy the Sunroom Stitcher here. It's the last day of August. Can you imagine that? I'm stunned how quickly this year has gone by. But it's August 31st, 2021. It's 11:45 in the morning, really close to noon. And we had the heavens open up and rain just come pouring down. Overcast out there, a lot cooler. Praying for everyone who was in Ida's path. We actually have, my husband has some friends, an older couple that lives in Summerall, Mississippi, and they're very close to the Gulf. So where Ida was going to make landfall, and we haven't heard from them, and I've been praying very hard for them. And if you wouldn't mind, please put Sam and Sarah on your prayer list. And we're hoping that no news is good news, and it's just the cell towers and the landlines that are down there. So yeah, and things have just been challenging for the past couple of weeks, not only in the current events, what's going on in the world, but there have been some, as always, life is full of pleasantries and unpleasantries. But I've had a good 2 weeks for the most part, but we're looking forward to my husband's birthday on Saturday. And he is going to be 58 years old, and I married a much younger man. He's almost 7 years younger than I am, but you wouldn't tell it. He's an old soul at heart. So I'm really excited because I actually have a finish this morning. And this is what I've been pretty much working on for the past couple of weeks. These curtain tiebacks have been the bane of my existence. Oh my word. But I actually did finish them this afternoon. And then I started to hurry up and gather stuff up for my FlossTube video. So let me share with you these curtain tiebacks. And I am really cuffed with myself. They turned out well. What I used was just a mixture of 6-strand sweets. Actually, what I did is I went through and I just pulled colors that I liked. Most of these are crescent colors, but there's some 6-strand sweets, some old willow, and Dias cast. So it's a mixture of different colors. Now the white is the DMC white that you see. And I used not any specific flower patterns. I wasn't too jazzed about the flowers that were in this. I mean, that's a pretty sampler and all, but they didn't fit my vision for my tiebacks when I started really looking at them. So I actually went through some of my own free patterns, and I have a lot of patterns online that I had purchased electronically. And so I've got cone flowers and daisies, tulips, let's see what else. Some of these just there's no name particularly associated with them, forget-me-nots, that kind of thing. But And that was the part that I didn't like, was hunting for appropriate flowers for these. And it was tedious. It was just tedious. And the finishing on the back is I just folded over the raw edges and then did like a blind stitch. And then I used these what do they call them? I call them little crochet rings, because you used crochet rings to make buttons on sweaters and stuff like that. I used that for the hooks that'll hook onto the nails. But one is for the right curtain panel, and this one is for the left curtain panel. So, and they do overlap a bit down the center. I did not stitch the backs of them. You're not going to see the backs of them. And besides that, this window faces the north, and there may be some fading, and so if you stitch something, it's probably just going to fade over time against the sun. But anyways, this was a feat for me, and I am pleased, and I will be so happy to get those up. Got the nail in and ready to hang them up as soon as this video is over. So that is the first finish, and the second finish is it actually is in process. I'm actually in the process of fully finishing it. And this is my willow tree sampler that's going to go to Heather Kahn. And I've actually got the foam core board cut. I have a piece of cotton batting adhered to the foam core board. I've attached 2 big earth magnets to the back, and I'm getting ready to lace this sampler, the sampler, to lace it around the foam core board. I did purchase this. It's got a metal backing, and I took some, it looks like red burlap, but it's scrapbooking paper, and I took the metal sheet off and slipped the paper in on the front, and then the magnet will hold it. Of course, that's not centered or anything, but the magnet will hold it to the metal sheeting, and then it can be hung. The pins aren't staying in them, the pin tops aren't. That's just holding my stitching onto the foam core board for me while I'm lacing it. I had thought about flowers, like a little spray of flowers, but really and truly there's not a lot of room between here and there. Then I had a bright idea to make yo-yos with some of the vintage type of fabric that I have in my cedar chest. And then I thought, you know what, it would be hard to keep them on there. Oh shoot. But I thought maybe a cluster of 3. I don't know. I'll see if I can work something up, but I thought that would be very sweet. Look like 3 little prim flowers or whatever in the corner. I don't know. I'm not quite sure yet. So we'll, as it progresses, that's actually quite close to being finished. Once it's laced it's really done. I may put one more magnet at the bottom here on the back side, but the little yo-yos I got, I really love the prim looking fabric that I have. I have some of the little gingham checks and berries on white flowers. Here's another red gingham check. Then here's like a mottled gold color. That's a blue flowered. It's not focusing very well, is it? Anyway, and I also had chickens, and I thought that was really cute. So I may still make them. I don't know. We'll see. But I love this frame. And I actually went ahead and I bought another one. This was a little over $10 at Walmart. When I ordered my groceries, I ordered, oh, it's upside down. I ordered another one because this would be perfect for stitching things, put in on foam core board, and you could change it out. For the front door, my front door faces the south, and it's a covered front porch, so it's going to be somewhat protected. But also I have a little grouping in the hallway. It would be fun. I think it would be a lot of fun to play with that with my stitching. So anyways, I really do like that. I think it's turned out well. I absolutely love that willow tree sampler. Very, very pleased with it, and I hope Heather likes that too. So honestly, those were the two finishes, and of course I've been showing you different works in progress that I've come across as I was organizing my happy room, and I've lost my train of thought. So we've gone over, I don't know how many, probably so far maybe 10 whips. But I found some more. I knew I had more because when I was organizing, I had so many baggies, kitted projects, and then works in progress. I had to put them in another box. And I put them in my closet in the master bedroom. So, and I had forgotten about that. And I'm going, well, where's Day Nymph? Where's Day Nymph? I know I have Day Nymph. So, anyways, this first work in progress that I want to show you is actually something I used to kit when I was working. I would have small projects that I would kit and take to work with me, and on breaks and stuff like that, I would stitch. And I actually don't have the magazine. This is a Stony Creek pattern, and it's actually Noel, and it's got snowflakes and hearts on it, and I'm doing it in a white silk, and I believe it's the Vicki Clayton hand-dyed white silk that I'm using on that. And the blue fabric is looks as though it is from that Australian company that I ordered from. Can't remember. I had bought a bunch of small pieces of hand-dyed fabric from them, and this blue is, I think, something like a glacial blue. It is even weave, and it's 28 count. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the line of Kiwi illusions, kiwi. If I think about it, I will tell you in the next video, or if I find it, I'll tell you in the next video. But it's a little hard to imagine what it looks like because all I've got is a copied pattern of the magazine that I was working off of. So that is, I could not tell you, this magazine's from 2014. So, but I think I kitted this up to take to work when I was working for immigration. So that would have been like 2018, I would have been. And I love this project bag. And I had bought this when from Ceasing Company, which is the local brick and mortar store. And it's a padded envelope with ties, and yeah, I really like it. It's got like a black background with gold, glistening gold print on it on the inside. But that's pretty. Woo. So the next thing I want to share with you, this is quite old, and I don't think I have any dates on this at all, and I don't. But it is a Just Nan. It's called Ebony Rose, and it is an absolutely beautiful piece. Well, what I did was I chose a black even weave to stitch on it. Just stitch it on. And I'm stitching it with all of the colors that were called for. There's some different, oh heck, let's see here if I can find the name of it. You know, I think I showed this to you already because it's got water lilies in it. I actually think that I showed this to you guys, because I do. But anyways, it's worth, I'm thinking I want to start on this again. So, but I love it on black. I love how it pops on the black. And of course this cabbage rose, to me, is signature of Just Nan, is those cabbage roses. Beautiful. Yeah. Sorry that I did. I think I showed this to you already. Put it back in my bag of mischief. What do you think? This last whip I'm going to show you today is a Mirabilia. It's called Day Nymph. And I'm sure people have stitched it out there. I haven't seen anybody stitch it. The reason why I chose this design was because it called for Veldani floss. And I hadn't worked with Veldani floss before this. So can you see it? I'm quite a ways along. But the thing I wanted to point out to you, this is when I got really picky about stitching, how I stitched the variegated flosses, because in the wing it is a orange to red, or excuse me, a yellow to orange. And I did not want the wings of this nymph to be straight back and forth, you know, where you can see the variegation and it doesn't look natural. I wanted it to be like a progression from into one color or another. And I think I did a really good job of it. And that color is called Orange Blossom. And it is a Veldani thread. And I've worked really hard and planned it and stitched in circles so that I got a really natural looking variegation or what's the word that I'm looking for? It's not really. I wanted it to look like monarch butterfly wings. You know, monarch butterfly wings don't have the color going from one color to another in vertical lines. So I played with it and I really like it, and it's just beautiful, really. This really is a beautiful piece. Maybe I'll work on this one next. So I made a copy of the chart to work from because I mark off where I'll mark off where I'm at. And that is not a copyright violation for anyone who's concerned, because you definitely cannot stitch day nymph from this. People, use your common sense, people. The fabric is called Cinnamon Bun. It's 32 count Lugana. It's the Zweigart Lugana. And it looks like I started this originally on June 11th, 2016. So that would have been just like 4 months after we moved here. Because I remember starting it when I was sitting out in the sunroom. And then I set it down and I picked it back up on February 22nd, 2017. I don't know when I set it back down, but yeah. So this is my, you know what? I just may keep this out and I just may work on it because I'm doing her skin over one, and I like on the Mirabilia, the Nora Corbett, I like doing the skin over one because to me it makes it just gives a whole different look to the piece. So anyway, that's my day nymph. I haven't seen this, hasn't seen the light of day in quite a while. That really is beautiful. And I love the fabric. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So that was the last one. The last whip I wanted to show you. And my plans. Honestly, as you can see, my plans are really fluid, and I could probably have more than whip that I'm working on at a time. But for some reason, what I'm wanting to do rather, and you're going to laugh at this because I'm going to show you something that a freebie that I found that I wanted to start. But it's a small freebie. It's a Lizzie Kate. It's called Moon Over the Blackbird. And it's from her blog, and it's a big pumpkin, a black crow sitting on a white picket fence, and a house. And then down below there's like a border that's got an acorn, and then a triangle, not a triangle, a diamond shape And there's also a blue moon, or not a blue moon. You could make it a blue moon. A moon, a crescent moon, or an eye moon. We call them eye moons in my family. My just a little personal thing. My little brother, well, he was 2 years younger than I am, and he passed in 2014. When he was little, he would point up at the sky, and he'd say, "Eye moon. There's an eye moon." And he was, the eyebrow is a crescent shape. So I think that's so cute. So I miss my eye moon brother. Miss him a lot. Anyways, thinking of, I want to start that. I think that's a cute freebie, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to this freebie down in the show notes. So, but I am thinking about working on, not starting anything new, but just working on whips, because as I pulled them out to show them to you, they have delighted my heart. So that, yeah, it'd be fun. Just put a few stitches in them. I know that's what Carrie's kitty stitcher does. Is she does that. She has certain days that she'll work on this whip or that whip. I'm not structured like that. I'm sort of like all over the place. And so anyways, but I'm also thinking about Winter Blues by Just Nan, the sampler that's all in blues. Been thinking about that one, and I've been thinking about the Waxing Moon. And also, as I was looking for flowers for my curtain ties, I ran across some in a gentle fashion designs. And hold on. Well, thank you for that. I'm sorry about that. That was my mother. I wouldn't have answered the phone if it was anybody else. She's going to be 85 in November, and she really does really well. She still lives in her house, and she runs her errands, and she cooks. The thing about it is, she has a ranch house, but there are a lot of stairs to get up to the main level. The garage is down on the ground level, and she's had some falls on those stairs. One was really a bad fall. It's been several years ago when she was going up the stairs with a plastic bag with some ice cream that she'd gotten out of the freezer, and somehow she went under the railing and landed on her head on the concrete, and she knocked herself out. There's nobody there at home. When she came to, she was able to crawl to the phone that was downstairs in the garage and call for help. And she was in the hospital for several days. She has a dent in her head from that fall, and it just anyways, I love my mom, and I want her around as long as I can have her. So I do a lot of things I don't want to do just because it's for my mom. Anyway, so where I was, I ran across some in a gentle fashion cross stitch patterns that I had. I honestly don't know when the copyright date on these is. It's been a long time. But this was a needle roll, and it's stitched up to be like a trifold, and you stitch 20, the gauge of your needles, 20, 22, 24, 26, etc. And so I liked that, and I pulled it out, and I didn't have any, I needed 2 pieces of white fabric for it, and I didn't have 2 pieces big enough because it needs oh heck, oh, this is 1994, Linda Palmer. That's the copyright date. So that's almost 30 years ago. Yeah, the needle case is 10 by 10. And I didn't really have a big enough piece, so I ordered 2 pieces. And they've just sent them to me in the mail. I haven't gotten them yet. But anyway, so I ordered some white Lugana to make that up. So I was thinking about working on this too. So I've got lots of stuff. I had pulled these out, some Lizzie Kate's. They're the Living with Charm. You know, this thing. So, but I think my heart's telling me whips. Get some of these whips done. I mean, it's not that they bother me because they're not done. It's just I remember how much joy I had stitching those. So that's what I think my plans are going to be. I have some some links to some Stitchy Kitty free designs. Stitchy Kitty's no longer designing, but this was through the Wayback Machine. One of the links, it's got Meow spoken here, and the other one is Woof spoken here, I think it is. And then there's a penguin, he's called Chilly Willy. And then there's the other link, has maybe like 6 or 7 freebies on it. Follow those links over, click on the image of the ones that you want to download. And I know the one where the cat and the dog are, I know those links work. And I'm pretty sure that the links on the other one, sometimes through the Wayback Machine, when you click on it, it'll say, click here for this freebie, and you click, and it's not there. It's not archived. So those 2 links and the link for the moon over Blackbird are in the description. And I don't really have a quote for you, but I've been thinking a lot about what's in your heart. And you know, God is always looking at our hearts, and He sees what's in our heart. And so I've been thinking a lot about what's in my heart, and I would have to say that the most important thing in my heart is God. And then would come my husband, my home, my dogs, my best friend. Those are and stitching. Those are the things that are in my heart the most. And of course, my family, my mom. But it's mostly people that are in my heart. Souls in my heart. And I hope that when people meet me, that's what they see inside of me, those good things. They see those good things inside of me. That's what I want. I mean, I don't care what people think of me. No, I don't. If you don't like me, I don't really care. If you don't like, I'm boring because all I talk about is stitching and my husband and my home and my dogs and my best friend. I don't care. Because I'll guarantee you, if you don't like those things about me, that there's really nothing about you that I'm going to find interesting. So these are the things I ponder, these deep thoughts. And I would challenge you, what's in your heart? If God were to look into your heart, what would he see? And if you want to share that in the comments below, let me know. I'd be interested to know what's in your heart. But this has been 35 minutes, and I will say to you that I hope the next couple of weeks are wonderful for you. Actually, I've had lilacs that bloomed. The Lord sent me lilacs. Can you believe this? The end of summer, and the Lord is sending me lilacs on my lilac tree. I cut some last week, brought them in. I have more out there. And actually, there's a bush. There's a house that no one's occupying right now. 2 houses down. They have a white lilac bush full of white lilacs. And I wondered what they were. And then I got out the binoculars and I looked, and I was stunned. They're white lilacs. A bush full of white lilacs. In August. God is so good to me. He knows how much I love my lilacs. Anyways, so you guys have a blessed 2 weeks, and I will try to adhere to this 2-week schedule, and that's all I have to say. God bless, and I love you.